Hello, Plaza. Mr. Mo here again with another Photoshop tutorial. Today I am going to teach you how to do one of my favorite things, and it's called a color splash, where you turn something black and white, but you leave a little bit of color. I really like doing this. It can be very powerful in images, to do this. It can be pretty cool. I really like doing this with sports images, but it doesn't have to be a sports image. You can do some cool things with like nature images and things like that when you do this. Um, so anyway, I've got Jamal Charles here. Hopefully our Chiefs have a good season. And what I'm going to do here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to make another copy of this picture. And to do that, you can either go up here to Layer, Duplicate Layer, or you can just right-click on the picture and go to Duplicate Layer. And then I'm actually going to name this black and white because this is the one I'm going to change to black and white. And you see it now appears over here. I have two of the same pictures over here. And with layers, what you have to remember is the background layer is always on the bottom, okay? And then every layer after that is stacked on top of it, kind of like pancakes, okay? So the background layer is the bottom pancake, and every layer after that is stacked up on top of the pancakes, okay? Or I mean, yeah, it just is like a stack of pancakes. So um, you always see whatever layer is on the very top, okay? Right now we see the same thing because the layers are the exact same. My background layer is locked down here. I'm going to drag this lock to the trash can so it's not locked anymore. So if I want to move my layers around, I can, and I'm going to just to show you kind of how layers work. But first things first, let's make this picture black and white. So I'm going to go up here to the black and white layer. And that's another thing. You always want to be cautious of what layer you have selected, because if I have this bottom layer selected, I'm going to be making changes to the bottom layer. I want to make changes to this top layer. So I go there, and then I'm going to go up here to Image and Adjustments. And I'm going to come down here to black and white. Okay, and then you can adjust those if you want. I'm just going to hit OK. And now my picture is black and white. If I move my layer down, all of a sudden it changes to a colored image. And the reason it's a colored image is that's what I'm seeing is because that is my top layer. Okay, that's why that's what I'm seeing. Even though some of you are like, yeah, dude, but you've got the black and white layer selected. You're right. I have the black and white layer selected. I don't see the black and white layer because I have a colored layer on top of it. If I want to see my black and white layer, if this is the layer I want to edit and mess with, you can click on this little eyeball. And now this layer is just hidden for a second. So if I wanted to do some work on my black and white layer, I could come down here and mess around with that. And then when I hit this eyeball again, this becomes visible. Okay, so that's a little bit with layers. I actually want my black and white layer to be the top layer. So I'm going to drag it back up here. So now it's the top layer. Now here comes the part where we are going to um, do the color splash. I'm going to increase my image size. We'll double it and make it up to 200 so that I can see better. And you're going to find a lot of you are going to need to do this so that you can be precise with your color splashing. You're also going to find that a mouse comes in very handy. So I'm going to come over here to my eraser tool. So here's my eraser tool. And if I want to change the size of it, I can come here and I can change the size of it to this huge thing. So if I was going to make all of Jamal Charles colorful, I would maybe want it that big. I'm not making all of him colorful. I'm just going to show you a very tiny piece of this. So I'm just going to go to like 13. You can choose whichever one of these you want. It doesn't really matter. They do different things. I'm just going to keep it with this. And now I'm going to start coming down here and just clicking, right, and dragging. Now what I kind of like to do too, what helps sometimes is clicking my mouse here, like around the edges, because some of the edges are tough to get. And then once you do that, I'll color in this part. But to get the edges, I get my circle right around there, and I just kind of click. So sometimes I even just like trying to do the edges first, right, and get the hard part out of the way. And again, this can be tedious. It can take a little bit of time, and sometimes you have to make your picture really big, depending on how much of a perfectionist you are. I'm going to go kind of quick, so this may not be absolutely perfect. All right, so now I got that, and I color in the rest of this. All right, got some edges there that aren't very good. And then I would basically do the same thing on this side. And I'm just, like I said, I'm going to go quick, so this might not be perfect. Remember, if you make a mistake when coloring this stuff, you want to hit Control Z, right? Control Z will undo what you have done. And you can keep hitting it to keep hitting undo, okay? That's what Control Z does. So if that's all that I wanted to do, right, then there's my picture. I could scale it back down to 100% just to see what it would look like when it's in its original state. And that looks kind of cool. Now, I may want to go up and make his helmet red and make, his uniform red. Other people just might want to make all of Jamal Charles colorful and then have the background be black and white, which could be kind of cool too. So those are just some different things that you guys can do with color splashing. You can get creative with it. Now I want to show you what happens if you have the wrong layer selected. So right now I have my background layer selected. Let's say I go to the eraser tool. I'll make my eraser tool bigger, right? And so I start like, okay, I want to do this. I want to make his head colorful, right? And so this happens. You guys click that and you're like, Mr. Mo, it's not working. What do I do? Okay, well, what you're doing is you are erasing stuff, but you're erasing the background layer. You're on the wrong layer. So watch what happens when I click to hide this top layer. Yeah, you're erasing poor Jamal. Oh, we're erasing him. That's because we had the wrong layer selected. Now I'm going to hit Control Z to undo this stuff. Okay, and as you can see, if I keep hitting Control Z, it just keeps undoing the last step I did. So if that's the case, you just have to keep going up here, edit, step backwards. So I guess you can do Alt Control Z is what it tells you to do that. And there I fixed Jamal, and it's back to the way that we want it. So it's really important that you pay attention to your layers over here and you know which one that you have selected. So if I wanted to erase more of this and make Jamal all colorful, this is easy here because it's white. And as you can see, I kind of went off of it a little bit. But again, I'm just doing this quickly to show you guys kind of what it looks like. And again, I like clicking around the edges is kind of a good way to do it. And then maybe that's how I want my picture and it's time to save. So when it's time to save, remember, especially with layers, I want you to do File, Save As, and always save it as a Photoshop file. That's so I can come around and make sure that you're doing this correctly. And once you've saved it as a Photoshop file, then you can go back in and do File, Save As again, and you can change it to a JPEG if you'd like. That way you don't have the layers over here, and it saves it as a final picture that you could email to yourself and stuff like that. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the color splashing. Have fun, kiddies. Goodbye. Bye.